Thanks for coming. As you know, I talked a lot last night about my future and retirement and after practice. And I guess we had a really good sunset behind me. I didn't get to see that, but that may be a really good omen, you know. So, but in all seriousness, you know, I want to talk about our football team today and our seniors and take some questions about the retirement part of it. And it's something that was coming, that it was time. And I was glad to be able to, on my, you know, me making a choice and being able to do it. Our seniors are who I want to talk about. And we've, you know, got a football team that's we're going to go out and like they did last night. They worked their ass off. They practiced hard. For those people who were there, I think you could see that there was great energy, and you know, we want to focus on them and this football team because that's what this is all about to begin with. So as far as, you know, me going to retire, it's something that my wife Laura and I are looking forward to. We've done this a long time. You know, we've accomplished, I'm proud of what we've done at each and every stop. And here at San Diego State in 2009 and coming back and having the only team that's had a 12-win season is something that we're really proud of in the circumstances that that team played with. But, you know, as far as San Diego State football, it will be in good hands. I can promise you that because that's how things are done. Looking back at the Colorado State, it was another tough one. Obviously, we got behind the sticks early offensively in the first half and just couldn't get anything going. And I thought the defense played well. The defense, you know, from the standpoint, kept us in there and got a little bit tired, played a lot of plays in the first half. But, you know, overall, you know, we've got to start faster, and that will be true of this weekend for sure with San Jose. And, you know, things that we liked, you know, we got 2 turnovers on defense that had a chance for a third. And offensively, I think there were some bright spots in the running game. I was happy that we were a little better. Cam Davis, you know, did a really good job, and he's a great kid. If you haven't had a chance to ever talk to him or be around him, he is a great kid from Dallas, and he has continued to improve and progress. Negatively, defensively, where you know, we gave up some big plays, and I'm talking about 12-yard runs, 15-yard passes. Got to tackle a little better again, and part of that is we got to do a better job up front of getting off blocks. And so from that standpoint, and then the kicking game, you know, we muffed a punt that there was some confusion on who was it touched, was it not touched. The 2 officials on our side, they thought it was touched. The official all the way on the other side of the field didn't. He saw it differently, and so that really the guys on our side said you know, it wasn't. They turned around and they looked at it and made the call. So it is what it is there. But in the kicking game, you know, those kind of things, we got to shore up those mistakes. And you know, for Mackay, that's not something. He's a really dependable young man, in you know, on the football field, off the football field, in the classroom. He's a really class act. So you know, we'll clean that up and then get ready like we did last night, starting with San Jose State.
couple of questions about this decision. How does a head coach know when it's time?
Well, I don't know, when I hit my 65th birthday on November 3rd, the 63rd, the 5th was coming, but, I just think it's one of those things, Hacksaw, I don't know if we ever know, when it's time, but I did know and I did feel that going into this season, that would be something that we would approach and talk about, Laura and I, during the season.
Is it strange to stand in front of your players and tell them that you're going to exit?
Yeah,
Can you
hard.
explain that?
Without getting too emotional, it's hard. It's hard.
No, it's hard.
It's hard. You love the guys. So,
Do you have any thoughts on who should succeed you? Is there somebody inside the program that you champion?
look, I have no idea. That's beyond my pay grade. And, and frankly, it's not a decision that I need to make.
What sort of attributes?
Well, you want somebody with character. And it's got to start there, the kind of person you want to have. There's really good coaches who have really bad character. And so San Diego State deserves better than that.
How do you counsel your guys? Your staff and you are the ones that recruited these guys. They're going to have different eyes on them going forward. How do you counsel them in that respect?
Yeah, well, you counsel them best you can by, why they came here in the first place. And you're hoping in a lot of ways they didn't come because of this coach, or this coach, even though that's part of it. But kids make different decisions during recruiting, San Diego is not a bad place to go to college, right? The city, San Diego State itself. So from that standpoint, you're hoping the guys who came here are here for different reasons, right? Because they all are. But at the same time, we got to finish out a season, and that's what's important right now.
Is that where these two games can also maybe be important because they're not just trying to finish out strong for you guys, but also maybe for the eyes that might be on them coming forward?
I don't know. I believe it or not, I can't put myself in an 18 to 22-year-old's mind. At one time I could.
The question about like your staff, and obviously you said that's above your pay grade, but in these last two games, is there potentially some extra roles or responsibilities you can give some of the coordinators that a head coach does that did show maybe what they can do or
No,
in that role?
that's like NFL stuff.
Brady, obviously 2 years ago you win 12 games, and I'm assuming you didn't forget how to coach in 2 years. How much of a factor is NIL? Is that just a reality that people need to accept?
Well, yeah, I think we all need to accept it, and I don't think I wasn't extremely high on NIL and transfer portal, and I've said that. But that doesn't mean we weren't involved with it. And, getting involved, even more. J.R. Tolver's done a really good job. Mike Coleman, those two guys have really jumped into it. So just because I don't like something doesn't mean we're not going to do what we need to do to put a competitive team on the field.
Brian Dutcher told me yesterday, he said he felt like NIL had affected you guys more than it affected him, and it affected them a lot. They lost a starting player to
Yeah.
school for quite a amount of money, and your scale is much bigger. How much did it affect your ability to bring kids in and keep them from leaving?
Well, we lost 4 guys. One of them was all family and didn't really have anything to do with the NIL. But I've said, we lost Simmons to Ohio State, Baskerville to Texas Tech, So, and then a couple recruits, you know, where we just weren't at that pace that the other schools are. And that's going to happen. And, you know, it's going to be interesting to see really how this, I don't know how locker rooms across the country, how that's going to affect as this continues to move and grow, because I think it will.
Because initially you wanted to reward guys who already have been in the program with NIL, but
Yeah, and we did. We did. I mean,
to attract good new players, you're gonna have to pay those guys.
well, you've got to, you know, it's all depending on what you're looking for.
Brady, does this exit feel different than when you left Ball State or when you parted ways with Michigan?
No, I'm just older, you know, to be honest with you. You know, Laura's fired up, I can tell you that. And if she's fired up, that's a good deal.
You mentioned recruiting for the early signing date. How does that this transition impact the recruits that you guys?
I think, well, you know, we're not the only one where there's a new coach, you know, either retiring or a coach who's been let go. So we are all in the same, you know, it's not done yet, you know. So it's one of those things that, you know, people keep working and keep doing the things that you're going to do, you know. I mean, right now, you know, we're recruiting. I mean, we've got, I think, 9 to 12 committed guys that, you know, we've got phone calls and, you know, we try and, you know, the best we can, make sure that they know that someone will be in here that's going to be very competent and coaches and all that kind of stuff. So from that standpoint, you know, we're going to do everything we can.
History will write that Rocky Brady, record of 120 and 68. In the big picture, how do you feel about how you flip this, what he did and what you did coming back in?
You know, it's never been Hacksaw about, and I know Rocky would say the same, it's not about us. And it never is. It's about the kids that you have the ability to develop, not just as football players, but as husbands, you know, fathers, you know, people who, when they're done with this game, you know, being somebody in you know, wherever they end up, somebody who's really good for their, you know, whatever situation they can be looked up to.
Have you started to think about what that last game is gonna feel like on the 25th?
No, because we have a game with San Jose this Saturday. And by the way, they're a pretty good football team. They're a hot football team right now. So we got our hands full with that.
Can you explain the switch in place kickers?
Yeah, Jack had a little contusion on his knee, so
So do you expect Gabriel to kick again this week?
depends how Jack comes along. You know, I don't know if we'll kick him, probably won't kick him today. I know he feels better today. I do know that. So, but, you know, let's talk about Gabe, because Gabe did a hell of a job. Came in there and great poise, first time out there. It's pretty cool, you know, and being away, you know, that all adds into it. And Ramirez did a great job with the hold, the holds, and he did a great job.
Would Jack have been able to punt in the second half?
Probably not. Would probably have punted Ramirez.
So if that would be the case this week, what's your confidence level on Ramirez?
Pretty high. I mean, he is an unbelievable young man, and you know, you look at him, you say, he's a football player, right? But, no, we got a lot of confidence in him.
How late in the week can you go before you have to know which guy's gonna be the guy?
I think in all those positions to some degree, but I think you could do it game day.
What thoughts do you have on jump-starting at the offense so that it's off to a better start early in games?
Well, I think that is one of the things that's probably the most troubling that we haven't been able to do. You know, from the standpoint of, you know, and the one thing about Jalen, about Moose, is he takes the big picture and the focused small picture, and you know, he takes a lot of heat. Some of it, you know, I think he would say is probably you know, warranted, but there's an awful lot that he's done very good for us in getting our offense back on track in the second half. I think that's the toughest thing.
At this point in the season, do you stay with older guys, or do you start giving some of the younger guys a little chance?
Whatever gives us the best option to win the football game, period.
Brady, when you see the exotic formations that Ryan brings into the game, and then you see some splash plays, you say, wow, and then you see regression, and you see the quarterback go 6 for 14 or have no first downs on 4 possessions. Any explanation as to why it's Jekyll, why it's Hyde?
Jekyll and Hyde. You know, playing the game of football, and this is why it is the best sport there is, the best team game there is. It takes 11 guys doing it right. It takes 11 guys being on the same page. And when that doesn't happen, now and then, you got a great back. A great back can make a difference, right? You got a great guy rushing a passer. You got a pass rusher, whatever it is. You got a guy who can make a mistake and be successful, right? We're not at that point right now, but it's one of those things that they all have to be doing their job, all 11, at the same time.
Brady, you see in college basketball recently, there were a lot of veteran big name coaches who just retired. Some of them pretty suddenly, and they just said, this isn't the game that I recognize anymore because of some of the things you talked about, transfer portal and NIL. When you look at the game now versus what it was even 5 or 10 years ago, do you see that? Does it bother you? And do you think it takes a younger guy who is more accustomed and embracing these changes to coach this?
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I think Nick's doing a pretty good job still, you know, and I think he's 71 or 72. My mom swears that they're cousins because they have the same, my mom's maiden name.
But he's outspoken about how he doesn't like the
Well, yeah, I think we all can say we don't like it, right? But you've got to be able to embrace it for your direction of your program and your team. I know there's the women's softball coach at the University of Michigan, Carol Hutchinson, who's one of the all-time great coaches. She retired this year, and she retired because of transfer portal and NIL. I think it's something that somehow, some way, people are going to figure it out. And I don't know how. I'm, believe me, not near smart enough to be one of those people who are going to figure it out. But I think, as we move forward, I still have enough energy to go out there and do it, but I've done it enough. 42 years. That's a long time. So.
Anything else for Coach?
Yeah, can you talk about that running back, fire plug guy? Is he a little bit like Genty from Boise State?
He, I don't think, well, it will be interesting. Obviously, we have to play a lot better defense, and we got to tackle better. in those things. You know, I think you look at their offense and Cordero, I think we've played him like 6 years in a row. I mean, my God, he never stops. And then, you know, he's so talented, and he's really talented if you break down with your rush. So, you know, I think overall they're playing really well defensively up front. You know, they've got a nice set of guys who can get after the run, and you know, they rush the passer to stop the run.
They weren't picked too high in the preseason. What do you think they've done to really kind of rise?
You know, I don't know. You know, they've had a quarterback, you know, and I think, you know, with that, they've had the last 3 years really defensively, they've been really strong up front, and that hasn't changed much. They're a little older, but it hadn't changed much.
Brennan inherited a real bad situation, and he's flipped that thing, and somehow, someway, he's getting the players there, and they've not had a great tradition way back.
Yeah.
Thoughts on what he's done?
Well, I think he's done a good job. You know, he's one of the guys when we have our meetings I like, because he spent time in Oregon State, and I had obviously a long time before he did. But it really is a good group of guys that, you know, overall, you know, Craig Bowl is probably as good a guy as you'd want to have representing, and he represents us in a lot of things nationally. But he's a hell of a guy, and so is Brent.